Okay, so today we've got UPVC training. I just want to go over a little bit of how to set the Iwata LPH80 up. There's two guns that I use for UPVC. That is the Iwata LPH80 and the SRI Pro Light Developers. The reason I use those guns is because they only need 5 CFM to actually work. So the compressor you'll need on site could be a lot smaller, so you're not lugging around a massive compressor. I know these work. I've been trying it for years and tested them, so this is what we sell in the shop because of that reason. To set these guns up are very easy. Obviously, when you are using PPS liners, which is your plastic pots to go into the cup first, you want to make sure that you're pressurizing the pot. So before you even start spraying, you would hold it upside down and spray until the paint comes out consistently. Then you know you've created the vacuum inside the cup there. Once you create the vacuum, you can obviously spray in any direction. Why we use these liners, because if you're spraying with a normal pot on top of the gun and you turn the gun, the paint will actually run to the end of the pot and then it won't actually be coming out of the nozzle. So by having the PPS liners on, it's actually a vacuum suction tight to the gun. Okay, so how we're going to set this gun up is very simple. I use everything off the regulator. So what I do is I open the air fully on the gun, and then I control my air from the regulator, right? So with this gun, I found the best setting is, obviously you can play around with it yourself and just see what your settings would be, but you're looking for that perfect oval shape on the paper, which I'll show you in a minute. First things first, what we're going to do is the fan is the top one. So you've got your fan, then you've got your paint, and then you've got your air. So by setting these two first will affect this. So if you set your thing at if you set your air at 2 bar now and then adapted your air and your fluid, when you pulled your trigger again, it might be on like 1.5 bar. It can affect this. So I always say set these two first. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our fan width first. So on this gun, what I do is I pull it, I open the fan right up until I feel the click. I just felt it click there. Sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't, but I just felt it click there. And what I'm going to do is once I've got that fan all the way out to that click, yeah, I'm going to go back 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's about 3 half turns. So I'm going sort of 1, 2, 3. 3 half turns back. The fluid on this gun, I open all the way out. Obviously, the fluid, if you keep going too far out, the spring will pop out the back. So what I do is I just know when to stop. Obviously, if I go too far, look, the spring is out the back. So what I want to do is just wind that back in a couple and make sure that's full fluid on this gun. When you're setting your air pressure, you need the trigger to be halfway back. You've got 2 pulls in this gun. You've got air, and then you've got paint on the next pull. So you'll feel there's like a stop. So you want to be setting your air with that trigger halfway back. If you don't set your trigger halfway back with the air, what will happen is, if I'm trying to set the air pressure now, look, nothing's happening. If I pull the air back, you'll see it is moving. But again, letting go, nothing's happening. So your working pressure is with the gun trigger halfway back. So when I'm setting my pressure for my gun, I want it on around 2 bar, 2 and a little bit bar, but always around the 2 bar mark, I would say, for these guns, and even the gun for the SRI Pro Light, I'd say around 2 bar. That's a good starting point. So I would say they don't run on anything under 2 bar. I would say you always need 2 bar. Unless you've got it down to like a point like this, where you're spraying such a small surface, like really tiny, making it into that fan width into a dot, then you might want to adapt the air slightly, because it will obviously blowing too much air. But I'd say for UPVC windows and anything like that, then around 2 bar rev is absolutely perfect. So trigger halfway back, and then we're going to set that, and I'm going to go on this gun, like literally just over 2 bar. So you'll see when the trigger's let go, it go right up there, and that's going back up to 5, just 5.5 bar. So if I pull the trigger again, that is only halfway back. Okay, so with those settings, I'm pretty confident now that we'll get a nice spray pattern. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go onto my paper and I'm going to show you what the oval shape means. And you'll see now there's a nice oval, and there's no sort of splattering around the outside. Okay, so now I'm going to do a nice straight line. And what you're looking for is when you pull that trigger, you don't want this to start running. Okay, so if I turn the fan horizontal, if that started running in there, then I would have to turn my fluid down slightly. But they're all hanging pretty well, and it's got a nice oval shape to it. But I'm going to turn the fan back round the other way, which is the way I like to spray. Okay, so now I'm going to do one stripe going across the paper to make sure it's consistent. Okay, and now you can see you've got a nice spread across the paper there. All of my fans look pretty decent, but obviously if I put too much air into that, so I'll show you now. You can see it's inconsistent, more paint one side, it's blowing it all over the shop. So you need to find that pressure. And with this gun, I just feel like that I've just messed around with the pressures ever so slightly over the years and made that what it is there. So back to just over 2 bar. And you can see it's consistently spraying there nicely now. And you've got that nice even pattern along the top and the bottom. And that's how you set the Iwata LPH80.